It's the biggest derby in the world for us. It's like Tottenham and Arsenal, Rangers and Celtic. You know, you can't beat a bigger derby than Fulham and Chelsea or Liverpool and Everton.
It's always lovely to beat Chelsea.
For me, it's one that we have to win. It's all about bragging rights in Southwest 6, and if you've got to show that Southwest 6 is black and white and we are the biggest team in Fulham and Chelsea, then you've got to show it. It's been almost 5 years since we last played them, so I'm hoping we can maybe somehow pick up a point and shut them up.
You know, derby games like against Chelsea. How does that make you feel?
I'm excited personally. It's very nice local teams, especially this team like Chelsea. We always make a team like Chelsea.
It's definitely our biggest derby out of all the teams in West London, London in general. It's our biggest derby for sure, you know. To me, it just means we're back in the big time. Somewhere down the family line, I've got a Chelsea captain, Dennis Roth. Bit way before my time, but just shows how we're all connected. You know, we're all from the same area. We're all on one side or the other. So, you know, it's what it is.
There is definitely a rivalry between Fulham and Chelsea, and even in my family, my sister's a Chelsea fan, which makes me a bit sick. But you know, it is obviously about location. You know, their stadiums at Fulham Broadway, and that's something that's thrown at their club quite a lot by rival fans, that they're just a something team in Fulham. So that's obviously going to be part of it. But I've been in the pub, met Chelsea fans, and they say, "Oh, you're like the Scotland to our England. So you're like the little brother who's never going to make it as large, and you know, always going to want us to do well, but they're never really taking us seriously as a rival." And you know, yeah, you've got to say there's a little bit of truth in that, you know. But to be honest, from me personally, even if I wasn't coming as a Fulham fan, I'd say we're just like totally different fan base from them. They have a little bit more of that Millwall sort of, at least that's the image, is that they have that, you know, hard nut, you know, nobody likes us, we don't care sort of attitude, whereas, you know, Fulham are more like the sort of family club. So, you know, they're massively different. I think a lot of the Chelsea fans are pretty plastic, you know, they might not have been to a game before, so yeah, I don't think there's much, you know, real solid Chelsea fans. There's that joke as well that they're old Man United fans who just switched allegiance, and I think there's probably a bit of truth in that.
Say about Chelsea Football Club is exactly in the last 10-15 years under Abramovich, you guys used to have this reputation of this hardcore,
English, fully
real
English,
hardcore element at Chelsea, and now, you know, the old school supporters will sit in the Matthew Harding stand and will sit next to some tourist who's come from China. No disrespect to anybody that's come from China who wants to enjoy themselves, but they're there for the, you know, the Premier League match instead of being, yeah.
It's an international company.
This is why, once again,
there are no real Chelsea boys nowadays.
This is once again why I believe that Fulham are the club of the people in the SW6 area.
Yeah.
I delivered newspapers when I was 16 or 15 to a mansion house in Rains Park, and one day the door opened and it was Tony Macedo, and he said to me, "Do you like football then?" I said, "No, I'm Chelsea. No, stay there." And he went away, and he came back, 2 tickets to the cottage. He said, "You come and watch me. I'm Tony Macedo." I said, "Oh, okay, then I can watch him." And every home game he put 2 tickets under the mat for me. So much to my dad's disgust, I transferred my allegiance to Fulham.
Is there a rivalry between Fulham and Chelsea?
As far as the fans are concerned, Fulham fans, yes. I suppose you could argue on the pitch. We've never been able to consistently meet them as far as winning games on the pitch. Although we do have an England player who won the World Cup and was vice skipper, and we did have a former England captain in Johnny Haynes, and that's more than they've had. So there is a rivalry as far as the Fulham fans are concerned, and it goes way back, particularly to the 60s when football hooliganism was beginning to peak, and a lot of the people in Fulham, myself included, had property smashed by gangs just running down streets, smashing windows, smashing cars, and always trying to infiltrate the Fulham fans and create problems by beating people up. So it goes back to those days.
You've got one story in particular, one of your very good friends, who was a very well-known Fulham fan.
An extremely known Fulham fan. For me, he set the bar, which I don't think will ever be broken. In that, what he did was he watched Fulham home and away, and I mean pre-season friendlies. It cost him his marriage, cost him his relationship with his son, but from about 1963 onwards he never missed games. And he was his name Alex Ferguson, and many people watching this will instantly know Alex Ferguson. He always referred to himself as the real one, not the bloke at Manchester United, and he wasn't far wrong. But he was in hospital, he was seriously ill, and he was over in hospital in Twickenham, and a few of us used to go over and see him. And he was dying basically. He needed 2 lungs transplanted, and the likelihood of survival was not good. But Alex faced that as he faced everything in life. He was brave, stoic, and he met it head on. Anyway, he was lying in his hospital bed, and I wasn't there on this occasion, but the story was told to me by those that were. He was lying in his hospital bed, and 2 of the lads decided that they would go in there in their football shirts, Fulham football shirts, try and cheer him up. Now you've got to imagine this guy lying on the bed. He's got a full oxygen mask to aid his breathing, and as they walked in, the guy in the bed opposite turned around and said, "Well, you Fulham fans then?" And so I said, "Yeah, what's the problem with that then?" He said, "You're the reason I'm in here." "What do you mean? I've never seen you before, mate." So he said, "No, do you remember the Fulham-Chelsea game at Stamford Bridge when you scored?" "Yeah, I remember that. Well, great goal, wasn't it?" "Well, I had a heart attack." So I think one of them turned around and said, "Oh, were you carted round the side of the pitch?" And he said, "Yeah, I was, from what I recall." So he said, "Well, what's that got to do with us then? Because we scored. Nothing to do with me, nothing to do with my mates." So Alex is lying down there listening to all this, and he's taking it all in. He might have been out of it and not able to move, but his ears were working. And one of the lads, I think it was Graham, turned around to him and said, "Oh yeah, do you know you got filth in the bed opposite you?" And filth, I should add to the Fulham supporters who don't know, is Fulham's the old Fulham fans' name for Chelsea. "There's filth in the bed opposite you." And the guy in the bed, "He's not Fulham as well, is he?" He said, "Too right he is," so the lads. He said, "Jesus Christ, I never knew that." And I was listening to this, and he died a day or so later, and he couldn't breathe, he couldn't take the mask off or anything, and he just raised his hand and flipped the bird at him like that, and that was one of his last gestures. Even in his sort of dying moments, he was not having this guy, you know, belittle our club and say that it was our fault he was in there. So yeah, they never conversed. Even if Al could converse, he wouldn't have conversed with him. He'd want him over the other side of the ward, pure and simple.